Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe. Welcome all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky, and with me as always are my two good buddies, Eddie Guevara and Chuck Caputo. Gentlemen, what's going on?
All right. Hey, guys.
Everything's good, buddy. Go ahead.
All right, man. Great to have you guys on. Great to be here. Thank you to everyone out there for joining us. And Chuck, we'll start off with you, man. You've had a busy week, I've heard, with a lot of shows and all that.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I've been knocking off, pretty much every day, one or two shows straight through, all last week. So, hey, I'm thankful to keep busy, but you know what? It was an experience, and things are looking up pretty good. I never had to wear a mask once, so I think we're getting out of that stuff, hopefully, and it's been a lot of traveling and everything. So I'm just thankful it's over with, like I got a little breather now for about 3 or 4 days.
Nice. That sounds good, man. So you've been keeping busy now. Will the shows start picking up now as the weather starts getting warmer and all that?
Yeah, I got quite a few scheduled, but I got like a 3 or 4 day break now, so I could do some stuff around the house too. It's like, man, I've been neglecting, I'm still putting up some railings. I laid the quickcrete and everything. You know what? I'm a magician that works with his hands, Joe. I'm out there with a sledgehammer, quickcrete. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I am.
I hear you. Now, do you do, because I know you do a lot of indoor stuff now, will you do anything like outdoors, like for city fairs or festivals or anything like that?
Oh yeah, when summer months come out, absolutely. Yeah, I do quite a few company picnics, even like you said, festivals for different community days and so forth. Which is a lot of fun. The only drawback is what I do stipulate in the contract is if it does look like rain that day at all, have another contingency plan where I can go indoors somewhere. Because if it rains, man, that'll just ruin this stuff. I mean, it's only happened maybe twice in all these years that I got caught in the rain, but that's a detrimental thing. That could warp your magic tricks, and your PA system could get damaged and everything. So it's always better to have that contingency plan. And wind is another thing that's not very friendly to a magic show. So
absolutely.
So I have to reposition everything, relocate everything, but I've done it a million times. So you know what, wind I can handle, but rain, no.
Now, I gotta ask, when you sent me those photos from the you went to that magic auction, what the heck was that black and white haunted house type thing?
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, what that was I just snapped a few pictures of a friend of mine. He built some illusions that he was selling. So that was probably the dog illusion. I tell you what, if I was a little bit younger and had a little bit more energy, I think I would have bought a few of those illusions. It's really cool. It's like a thing you open up. It's like a haunted house. It comes up with a A-frame roof. You close it up, and then like different things appear in there, like a haunted doll, things of that nature. When you reopen it, it's a really, really nice illusion. It was in Canton. I don't know how far that is from you, but my wife and I went out there last weekend, and we stuck around for about maybe 4 or 5 hours, and it was good seeing everybody. I did buy a box full of stuff. I didn't want to go too crazy, but you know what? There were some really good deals on there. There's a lot of guys who are getting rid of a lot of things, so the prices were really, really good.
Now, did you have to be a magician to enter that auction, or was that open to the public?
Well, you know what? That's a gray area. I mean, there's no proof of anything. You know what? If you walk in there and no, I don't really think so.
I didn't know if there was like maybe a secret knock and a password that they gave magicians.
Yeah, no, there's no Three Stooges, or nothing like that. I mean, if you pay the $5 the entry fee to get in, take anybody. But
Well, they realize you're not a magician, so you get tossed out of there on your backside.
No, you know what? They're looking to make money. You know what? And that's the way most of the magic clubs are nowadays too. I mean, but you do, but if you do belong to a magic club like the IBM or the SAM, you do have to perform usually 3 times. So that'll show if you are a little bit competent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But no, I think it's come a long way. Whereas back when I was a kid, you went to one of these meetings, it was like, oh my goodness, hold on a second, these are all. This is a secret art. You know what?
Yeah.
But what? Pretty much now, if you got the fee to pay, and if you could perform even the most simplest tricks, I think you'll be in.
Yeah. So I was wondering about that when you said. I was like, I wonder how they would tell if someone was a magician, if there was like if you had to produce, a card, because I know there's a lot of different clubs out there if you had to be a member or
Yeah.
a secret code or if it was just hey,
Yeah, I
we'll
think
hook
you know what?
anybody.
I think it's come a long way. I think people are more friendly, which is good in a lot of ways,
Yeah,
and I highly recommend to anybody out there who is getting into magic, particularly, join your clubs, man. If you got a local ring through the IBM, that's the the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and the SAM, Society of American Magicians. Join up to it. I mean, that's how you get together with people. You can learn a lot of things and so forth. Those things I really didn't know about when I was a kid, or I pressured my parents a little bit to get me signed up. I found out about the local IBM when I was in my early 20s out here in Pittsburgh. But hey, if someone's out there and you're getting into magic, see if you have a local ring or like possibly a ring that's within like an hour or two drive or something. I'd highly recommend getting into it.
very cool, very cool. So Eddie, what's been going on with you, brother? I know you're always busy and up to something.
Well, going on is not a word to say, but yeah, the busyness is extreme and just getting there. But the more exciting part that I was seeing is last night I uploaded, I don't know, 6 o'clock this morning, give or take, the video of the haunting in a box, which is a magic trick that Chuck just finished putting together.
Oh yeah.
He made only 2 pieces of it. It's very complicated. And I'm kind of surprised that it got 74 views already in the last, so the point I'm trying to say, it's amazing how much magic has come and how many people are always interested in it. Because if you guys noticed, we put up a video, Chuck, the one you did the last time, and it basically got 1,000-something views in a day, and the subscription went up to 936. I think we were at 820.
Yeah, it jumped.
So we have that's really, really nice. We're almost hitting the 1,000 mark, which should happen pretty soon. And saying that to you, I really think that that there is a big surge in magic again. And we got a teller from Penn and Teller reached out to me concerning about being on, and he was telling me that he's going to try his best due to the fact that they're in the middle of producing the 9th season right now. And he says they also, I think they have, I don't know if he said an Australia tour or some type of tour at the end of the month. So that tells you again that if they're on the 9th season of Penn and Teller Fool Me, and now they're going to Australia, I mean, it's there's a lot to do in that field, people are really enjoying it. So that's good for us because as you could see, we've done a lot in the magic this year since Chuck came on board. It wasn't just mail order novelties anymore. We've gotten to a lot of fields, and the magic is fun. And I think the best part is that we are now a company that has been putting out magic stuff handmade by Chuck, which is unique and nobody has. It's not like we're copying it from another company. So whatever Chuck makes is unique only to Chuck. So if you want to get it right now, I also listed the haunting in a box on Etsy. You can find Etsy by going to Etsy and then looking for House of the Unusual Shop. Like I said, if anybody's interested, there's only 2 of them. The price is a little steep. It took several hours for Chuck to do each one. The cost is pretty high. So the price is we're not really making that much money on it. We're just selling the items because they're unique. And right now, if you go to Murphy Magic and you buy any little thing and Verdi duplication stuff, it goes for over $300-400. So I think our prices are with the market, where we're trying not, because remember, you're buying one thing that you'll never get it again. No one's got it out there. It's not like if you're buying it, somebody out there has one. It's only 2 and that's it. So having said that, I hope a lot of people who are serious magicians, this is not like a little novelty for just a starter. It's more like for a serious magician out there that wants to collect unique magic. And as you guys know, and Chuck has said it before, he's been on several shows. He became Murphy's Magic spokesperson worldwide for the Verdi collection. And he's been also with Penguin Magic, and a lot of them have had him on their show. So getting a product made by Chuck is going to be unique to a collector. And right now, books like Mail Order Mysteries by Kirk Damaris, which portrays 80% of my collection in there, more like actually 90% of my collection, where you can find me on page 154. That book alone right now is going between $85 and $150. And as you can see, prices on all this stuff will only skyrocket. So I hope you guys go out there, check it out, see what's available, and jump on it, because you know what? It's really good stuff, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So that's what I got in my side of the wood, Joe. How about you guys? Go ahead.
Well, I tell you what, I just been real busy with work and everything, and doing everything in life. I haven't had time. You know what? I watched that. I think we talked about it last time. Was the Unholy 3 1930?
Ooh, that was cool.
Kentucky, which was really good, and
I loved it.
Yeah, that's the last movie I've been able to watch. Like I said, it's just been, life has been crazy, and I'm hoping this week it slows down a little bit more this Friday when I'm off, so I could check out a few more monster movies and all that, or some. There's a few more. I do still have to watch that Golem, the silent version, and then there's a few more silent era Chaney movies I want to watch.
Oh,
but
I watched
this Friday close up.
I watched a couple of movies I wanted to tell you guys about. Not to change the subject. Well, no, this is on the same subject actually. How to Make a Monster, 1958.
Oh, I love that movie.
That was cool. That was really neat. I thought it was really entertaining. It was just a cool movie. I mean, the guy gets fired from a studio where he was a makeup guy, and he makes some concoction where he puts it on their faces and it kind of makes them go out and kill people. I mean, it was really cool, man. It was unique. And I took your advice. I know you reviewed this a few months ago. I watched The Bat. That's the first time I saw The Bat, 1959.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Vincent Price and Agnes Moorehead, I believe, and Darla Hood was in there, and that was a cool movie too. That was really, really nice. I mean, I thought it was excellent.
That's an awesome movie. I agree. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys something real quick. How to Make a Monster was part of that DVD set I've mentioned many times to you guys.
Oh, that was part of it. Okay.
Cool. It is a really nice, cool film. I mean, you could see it's very cheesy done, but it's fantastic.
Oh, man. That was neat. I love his mask where, when he finally went to his home, the mask hanging on the wall. That was cool.
Yeah.
but when you say The Bat with Agnes Moorehead, which a lot of people might not know, she's the one that played the mother in Bewitched.
Right.
But here she's very young at the time. And Vincent Price is, like a prowler. But the whole thing is, I have a few months ago, I had purchased, 10 years ago, I went to Chiller Theater one time. And I'm there looking, and they had this poster for the House on Haunted Hill, but the French version. And this thing was 67 by 62. It's huge. I saw it, and I was like, wow, man, I got to get that. So the guy was asking $600. I thought it was a little steep, so whatever. So going forward, I kept going around and around. Hopefully, I was hoping I could get it for like $400 or something at the end of the night. When I went there, right at the end, he had just sold it. And I was like, oh, no. And he sold it for more than what he had it, which was really amazing. But going forward, I've been searching for the poster for like 10, 11 years, right? So in the process, many years ago, I came across a poster that was selling, which was The Bat. Now, the Bat poster in French is huge. It's a beautiful poster. It looks like it could glow in the dark. It's greenish and black and stuff, but it's an awesome poster. And I didn't know I had it. Now, that poster today is going for like over $1,500.
Wow.
And I finally came across the same guy that had the poster for $600. He had the House on Haunted Hill, and he goes to me, hey, I got one right now. It belongs to a friend. If you want, because you've been looking for this for 5 years, and I know it's selling for over $1,000 on eBay right now. He says you can have it for $500. I didn't even think twice. I sent him the $500, got the poster, and then I said to myself, man, I wish I could get the one on the Bat as well. And my friend goes to Medi, you have it. So I'm still in the process of looking for it. I remembered I had it. But right now, just the House on Haunted Hill, I'm working on getting it restored. Now, when I'm saying getting it restored is that the posters at that time were done, especially the French ones. Some of them were so thin. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you fold them, the folds start to rip.
Wow.
And the house on Haunted Hill it's in perfect condition, but it's very fragile. So I wanted to get a linen bag. Now that's going to be a cost of about $300 to get a linen bag,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to probably go for it because the poster does sell for over $3,000 when it's linen back and all that, and it's so unique and rare that I think it'd be stupid not to do so. I'm looking for the bat. I like to do the same to the bat, and one day I would love to have those two posters framed. Of course, I would have to frame them myself because otherwise it would cost me $1,000 to frame a piece
Oh
because
my
of the
goodness!
enormous size.
Oh,
Wow.
But
it's so expensive for some of those frames too. I tell you what, I framed I had to get a special frame for a Tarzan poster years ago, and it cost me almost. I had to get specially made through Hobby Lobby, and it cost me almost as much as the poster did.
Almost as much as the poster. Yeah,
Yep.
it's crazy.
yeah, I tried to frame a 6-foot Dracula one time, and I went to Michael's, and they had 50% off framing. So I picked up a nice, like a Victorian frame, and it was gonna look phenomenal. And the lady comes back, I think was it $487. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Holy
So
moly!
I backed away from that right away. But
I tell you what, it's funny because you were just talking about how you were gonna haggle with that guy for the poster, and I'm looking over to my left here in my little office. I have my famous Monsters of Film and #1, and a couple years ago I found it at Monster Bash in June. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I haggled for about 3 days with the guy over it because I looked at it on Friday, and I can't remember how much he had it for, and he goes, yeah, he goes, I'll give you it for this, and it was only like $50 off. And I said, no, I'll keep looking. So I came back Saturday, and he says, oh, I had some people look at it, but I'll give you, $100 off of it. And I said, no, would you do this? He goes, oh no, that's too steep. So I said, yeah, I'll wait till
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, towards the end of the convention. I said, if it's here, I said, then, we'll
Right.
get into some serious haggling. So I ended up getting that plus it was a old, I think from the 60s, Bela Lugosi vinyl mixed in with the price. And I ended up getting it for almost like $350 off what he originally had
Oh, nice.
for. But it took some haggling, and I think that Sunday I went and looked at it and left, came back, looked at it maybe 3 or 4 times, and I waited till the very almost like the last half hour of the show, right when they were getting ready to.
Hey, that's always the best way to do it, Joe. Yeah, which is the same with these magic conventions. Throughout the years, I've been to different big conventions. If you get them at the last day, the last few hours, the last thing they want to do is go home with these things. You know what I mean?
That's usually because I have kind of like a I have it all planned out, when I go to shows and going into the dealer's room. I like to hit it right when it first opens just to see, what's very unusual. Because, like the one year I went in there right as it opened, and I an old newspaper clipping from, I think it was one of the a Cleveland newspaper, and it was marked 2 days before the original Dracula came out in 1931. I think it was marked February 12th or something like that, or 14th. I'd have to look at it, but it had a nice big picture of Bela Lugosi as Dracula on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy had it for $100 in the frame, and I actually haggled him down, to I think about like 15 or $20 off.
Wow, holy smoke! You're a good haggler.
Yeah.
I got to bring you.
But I said
these magic things here. Holy smoke!
Yeah, that's my own magic trick is haggling.
Wow. I tell you what, I get embarrassed to do it too much. My mother, God rest her soul. Oh my goodness, was she a haggler? Oh, she'd go in there, she'd get stuff like 90% off. I mean, it was unbelievable. She'd come out with a whole bunch of stuff. I said, "What'd you pay for that?" She said, $3.
Chuck, I was the same way until I was a good buddy of mine from high school. We kind of reconnected several years ago. We all started families, and he had wife and kids and all that. So we started doing comic shows and going to comic shops. And now this guy's a haggler. I mean, he would, if something was $100, he would offer $20 and haggle from there. And I never was really a haggler, so hanging out with him. So Mark, if you're out there listening, man, I got all my haggling
Wow.
expertise from you. And I was never, I always felt uncomfortable haggling. Now I feel uncomfortable
Wow.
if I don't haggle.
Yeah, you got pretty good. Like I said, my mom would go into a fruit store where they sell fruit. She'd come out with a whole basket full of fruit. I said, "Well, how much you pay for that?" She said, $2. I said, "What?" And she'd say, "I'm on a fixed income. I can't pay this. I can't pay it." She would haggle. I'm like, "You embarrassed already." I
I
actually walked.
even I even haggled at a I found that you could really now this is a good trick for everyone out there is that like all these stores like Rite Aid, JCPenney, you could actually haggle in those stores.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't know this. And
That's amazing.
years ago I was talking to a manager up at Rite Aid and he was talking, "Oh yeah, we could do this, this, and this." And then I was reading online about it and all these people going to different stores. So here's what you have to do is that when they will pretty much if something is new and hit the shelves, they won't haggle with you with it because
Mhm.
it's brand new. But when they drop the price and they say, "Hey, this is on sale,
Oh, I see.
50% off or something." So years ago, they had this small kind of like fold out traveling grill with um I think the propane tanks were on sale too. They
Mhm.
were like from $6 down to like $4 a piece. And I think they had about 10 of the propane tanks and then they had this little mini grill. It was like half off. So it was like I think $30. So I went in there and talked to the guy and I said, "Hey," I said, "you got all this stuff on sale and all that. I said, I see you're trying to make some room here and all that." I said, I said, "I'll take the grill for $20." I said, "And I'll take every one of these propane tanks if you do $2 a piece." He goes, "Okay." And I'm like, "Oh,
Wow.
okay." Snagged them all up. So I was reading about these department stores on how you could haggle with them. So I said, "You know what?" I said, "Let me try it." I said, I said, "I need a new pair of jeans." I said, "Let me go to JCPenney." So check this out. So
Oh my
I,
goodness.
I was looking, I was looking online, and here I had just missed a sale at JCPenney's on their like the men's clothes. I don't know what they were. I can't remember what they were offering certain percentage off,
Holy
but
smoke.
I had missed it by a few days. So I went in there. I'm looking at the jeans. The lady comes up, and she goes, "Hey, there's something I could help you with." I said, "Oh, you know what?" I said, "I'm looking at these jeans." I said, "I was just looking online and see that I just missed, that there was a sale on these for like,
Mhm.
I think it was like 20% or something like that, or 30%. I said, "You know what?" I said, I don't know if I want to take these." I said, "If you'll give me the 30% or even 40% if you could." And then I
Wow.
said, "I'll buy another pair of jeans." I said, "If you give them to me, 30% off or whatever." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, we could do that." I said, "Oh,
Wow.
okay." So
Wow,
I got the
you're
hag.
really you're good, Joe. Holy smokes. You know what?
Yeah.
And my mother would bring back items. Like one time she had a vacuum cleaner that she had for like, I don't know, 4 months and it wasn't running right and she didn't have the box and there was like fur, dog fur, cat fur hanging out of the wheels and I said, "Oh no, you're not bringing that back." She's, "Yeah." I said, "I'm not going in. I'm embarrassed." So I stayed outside. She went in and got a refund on that. It was just unbelievable.
Really?
Oh my
You,
goodness. Yeah, I didn't even wanna watch it. I said,
you,
no way, no way." I mean, there was dog fur hanging out of it and everything. I said, "This is ridiculous."
you,
Yeah, there's definitely
There's an
an
art.
art to it. And I tell you what, my mom, she could sell you a bucket of salt in the middle of the desert if you're dying of thirst. She could haggle so good. She'll call these places. Like she used to get me Sirius. I think it was what Sirius XM. Is that the radio thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Years ago in my truck, they would offer it for like it used to be $15 a month, but then they send you a special. They'll give it to you $6 a month. She called in and we get it for about $220 a month.
Unbelievable.
I said, "I don't know how the heck you do it," but
Yeah, we got you know what? I gotta start doing this because we're paying top dollar for everything.
yeah,
you,
I'm telling you, you gotta do the
you
haggling, man.
gotta
It
you,
works.
you gotta haggle. You know something? It's funny what you guys are saying. I was remembering back in the early 2000s, especially when you had CompuServe and the different services like AOL, and it was all dial-up. The way they try to get the people to subscribe is they will give you like a $400 credit to purchase anything you wanted in the store. So I remember going into like Best Buys and signing. I think it was Circuit City at the time actually, and signing up for CompuServe for like a 1 year thing, whatever plan. And then I got $400 off, and I would buy a TV for like 500, but pay only 100 for it. And then I waited about a month and a half, and I changed from CompuServe to AOL, and I get another $400, and there was never any penalty for
Wow.
for canceling. And I would always use like different emails, and I probably did that like 4 times. And then the best one was when you had to get, a lot of people don't remember this, but I mean, especially we do, but a lot of younger people don't remember. In order for you, when you had a landline in your house, like Verizon or any type of when Mobile was first broken up, you needed to get a private long distance line. So in order for you to call long distance, you had to have a long distance carrier.
I remember that. Yeah.
So you had MCI, AT&T, and you had I forgot the other one. There was another, and they would all give you, I think it was like $150 or $200 to switch over.
I do remember that. Yeah.
And I must have switched like 8 times and got the money each time. And so that was one way. And then my best haggling, not haggling, but the best one that I learned was a trick of the trade that was for my collection that was only unique to, I guess, at the time, probably very few people. But what I would do is I would go every Halloween to every supermarket. I would go to stores like, big stores like not JCPenney, but I would go to Sears. I would go and I would try to stock out and see who had the best Halloween displays, especially for like the M&M peanuts and chocolate. And they had usually this life-size Frankensteins, Draculas. And what I would do, and I did, this was the funniest one. One year they had an inflatable Frankenstein that looks so awesome. And when I mean awesome, is when you look at the hands, you know how sometimes you get those inflatable animals, especially like little horses and stuff like that, that it looks like the legs are attached to it, but the legs like form like a different, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Instead of coming out as one piece, it's like a round piece attached to which it kind of looks stupid. And well, the Frankenstein they had was unique. It was molded where the hands were molded into the body, and it was like one piece. It didn't have that connection, and it was over 7 feet tall. So they had one in ShopRite, which ShopRite is like, the local supermarket in my area. And there were like 4 ShopRites, and they had all 4, they had the Frankenstein, and some of them had it up in the ceiling because, beautiful piece. So I figured out what to do. I started stalking. And first thing, when I asked the one shopper, I said, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. Those things go back." None of them want to give it to you. Either a worker gets it or, they send it back to the company. But most of it is a worker gets it, and it's usually the manager or somebody. So what I did is I went out and I figured out who the general manager was for each store. So I waited till Halloween evening. As soon as Halloween was over, I went to the 4 ShopRites. And I said, "Hey, the manager from this morning, I came to see him, and he told me I could have it, but it had to be after midnight." It worked in 3+1. And the reason it worked in 3+1 because the one somebody had taken it before I got there, and I thought it was funny when they're giving me this thing and I'm hurrying it up, taking it and running out the door with it before they realized that. That I didn't have permission to take it because the man said, "Yeah, go ahead, take it." The one guy got me a ladder. I climb up and it's got this hook and it's hooked on the ceiling. And I'm having a tough time to get it out of there, man. And as I'm getting it out, this is in one of the stores. The lady sees me, the cleaner. She goes, wait, why are you taking that? I said, "Ma'am, the manager over there, you can ask him. He gave it to me. I had it." No, 1 second. And then she starts calling the guy's name.
Ooh.
Thank God the guy had gone towards the back of the store. And she dropped everything. She's looking for him. At the same time, my wife comes by and goes, "Honey, hurry it up. I gotta get it." So I yanked the thing and I actually stabbed my finger, I think, with the cord. I got it. And this is funny. I'm coming out of the store and I'm trying to deflate the thing. Now they had 3 different plugs. Okay, the 3 different plugs are the plugs that they the 3 different plugs were the plugs that they in order to blow, I think like the feet section had one, the top section had one, and I'm trying to take them off and I'm trying to squeeze it, and I'm running out the door with this thing under my hand, and it's huge. So when I and my wife had the car outside, I'm trying to stick it through the window.
Oh my goodness!
I opened the back door and I'm shoving it in, and I go, "Hurry up, get out of here!"
Holy shit! Doesn't this boil down to theft, Joe? What do you think?
Yeah, it kind of seems like it.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, it was kind of funny though. I got out, and today I still have them. I wonder what they probably go for because they're one of a kind. But you know what? It worked, and you know what, Joe? I'll tell you this one before you. The other one I had learned is would go to Kmart. The Kmart was still around a lot here, and you would go to Walmart, but they still had the one Kmart, and I would go to Caldors. Okay, I'm sorry, not Caldors. Caldors. There was, I think, it wasn't Caldors. After they closed down Caldor, God, what's the name of the other store? I forgot. But anyway, I would go in, and I would find all the life-size robots they had for Halloween and Christmas, and I would put them on layaway. And I would go, especially in Walmart. Walmart was my favorite. I would go 10 days after Halloween, and I get 75% off each one.
Wow.
There's a butler that's 6 feet tall that looks like the Addams Family Lurch. And Uncle Fester, bullheaded. I have 6 of them, and I only pay like $20 a piece.
Wow.
In the original box. And that's how, I learned it. But then you know what? As years passed by, after the second or third year, my trade was up, man. I had to give up because they no longer gave any. You couldn't put things on layaway that were.
Oh, that's right.
You know.
Yeah, I tell you what, years ago, which I think they stopped somewhere around the early 2000s, is when you would go into these stores like Kmart, Walmart, Target, anywhere really, any of the display stands that they had, you could put a claim on them. You know, or even if they were empty, you could ask a manager, and they would let you take them home. You know, I got a few. You know, when the first Spider-Man movie came out in, you know, what was it, 2001 or 2 or something like that. Yeah. I have a nice it was a nice poster. I think it was at Walmart of Spider. It's real big of Spider-Man, and I can't remember what they were advertising for, and it was on a stand, but I just took the poster of it. Mm-hmm. And then a buddy of mine, which I got off him a few years ago, he has a Keebler Elf stand from the 1994 movie The Shadow.
Oh yeah,
and it's real nice. It's a nice cardboard stand. I have it in my basement now. But you used to be able to get that stuff, or you could, you know, leave your name and phone number with the manager or on it, and you know, right when before they would throw it away, they would, you know, give you a call and you could come pick it up, because otherwise they would throw it away. Yeah, well, now they won't let people take them or put a claim on it. They have to throw them away.
Is that something?
George Lucas was I think he's the one that kind of started it, because a lot of the Star Wars stuff, he wouldn't allow any of the companies to sell them because people were buying them and then selling them, you know, for money. So he had a thing that they had to return them to where they were going. Now, I don't know if they still do that or if they have to throw them away, or
they return them. They return them.
Yeah. So it's real hard to find, you know, stuff like that. Now my wife, she works at Barnes and Noble. So anytime that they are getting rid of a stand or anything before they throw it away, she'll give me a call and say, hey, you know, are you interested? You know, some of the workers there, if their boyfriend or husbands are interested in it, they'll give them a call, but otherwise they have to toss it out.
No, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And they tell us, you know, hey, if we take it, we can't sell it. And, you know, I'm not going to take anything to sell. First, that stuff's hard to even sell. But if there's something cool that I have Marvel and the Star Wars,
something spooky, maybe around Halloween or something, that would be neat, like a neat display. You know what? One of you guys probably got my mother's vacuum cleaner with cat hair in it.
Yeah. No, you know something I want to tell you guys when you say that. The movie theaters is very hard to get any type of the stands. I did wind up one time in the movie theater. I got to know the manager. I forgot what it was. I said, hey, thanks a lot for everything. So I went in one time and I tipped him, I think it was $20, which I was planning what I was going to do. I was planning it out ahead of time because I seen the display go up. But I tipped him, you know, like just for like helping us and stuff like that. I went back the next week. He's like, hey, what's up? And then when my final scheme came into play was when I noticed that the movie had to stop playing and stuff. I said, hey, can I get? And he goes, you know what, man? Yeah, go ahead, take it. And they gave me they gave me a nice stand-up display for I think it was my gosh, I don't know, it was something Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
This was many years ago, and I got a beautiful display that you can't find that anywhere.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I'm going to tell you guys, and also when you say about movie theaters, there was a movie theaters in my old job back in the 80s, or actually 90s, and the guy used to give me. He said to me, Eddie, they charge you $500 a year, something like that, for posters, because theaters have to pay to receive all those displays. And he started giving me, and I have several boxes. I have no idea what items are in it, but of posters that were from actual movies that played in the mid 80s or 90s,
Oh,
And
some of those posters and those displays at the
they're
theater,
beautiful, man.
absolutely gorgeous. I remember when the new Jumanji movie came out with The Rock. That was a really cool display. It was really neat. It was like a jungle and these different figures and everything. Nice.
Yeah, and if you get Disney ones, those go for a lot, if you try to sell. But there was another thing that I got one time. There was like a Super Bowl, and they put the different monster characters in liquor stores. Those were easier to get for some reason. I asked a couple, and they gave me like 6 of them. And I actually wound up giving away 3. I gave away the Mommy, because it was like a Miller beer, a Budweiser.
Yeah, right.
And they had the displays, but I got them, but I don't know, I didn't care much for them, and I gave away, I think, which I kind of regret a little bit, but I gave away 3 of them. And Joe, getting back to what we were saying, the story I wanted to say, another one was kind of funny. This one particular guy, I'm not going to say the name because he might be listening, but he's like 6'5", big guy, and his regular thing to do is that he goes into all these conventions and flea markets, but he gets there around 6, maybe between 5 and 6 in the morning before they set up. He goes through all the tables and he says, I'll buy this from you, I'll buy it. And then what he does in return, he goes to other tables and sells the stuff he bought, probably double the cost, because it's a big, but he's been doing this for a while. This is the type of guy that'll say, I'll give you $2,000 because he's got the money to do it, because he's been doing this business for a long time. So one day he walks into ShopRite and he purchases an item that I forgot what it was, that he went to the courtesy desk because I think they overcharged him or something for it. So there was a recall on it. So when the store gets a recall, you can't sell the item. So there had been a mistake, and he gets the item sold and he pays for it. And when he gets to the desk, the courtesy person, the counter, takes the item away from his hands and says, 1 second. And he puts it behind the counter there. He says, 1 second, this item cannot be sold to you. We have to keep. And he says, what do you mean? So now is this like a universal monster item? And Chuck was hilarious. When he sees that they're calling the manager because they're saying, we cannot sell this to you. We can't. It's against whatever the law. He jumps up towards the counter, grabs the item, and runs out the door. They go, sir. And the guy is chasing him down the store. He goes, I paid for it. And he shut out the door like a little kid. And it was so funny because, I found that hilarious because that's what a lot of collectors go by. And he's like, I'm not going to give this thing. But you know what? There was one particular item, and when you said Barnes & Noble, every time I think about it, I want to kill my kid because I go to my son, I don't understand how you could have just gotten it and paid for the darn thing. And he got one day when President Trump and Hillary were running, the day they thought Hillary won, Newsweek delivered to the Barnes & Noble.
Oh, I know where this is going.
A magazine with Hillary as the new president on the cover.
I got a copy of that, believe it or not.
I don't know how you got it, Chuck, but you know what's funny about that? Yeah. My son saw it and he goes, Daddy, sends me a picture. I'm like, get that. I don't care how, get it. Put it somewhere, then buy it, purchase it, cover the thing and let them scan the thing. And he's like, no, Paps, I can't do that. And he did it. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so you got a copy.
I think the heading on there was Madam President or something like that.
Something like that. But it was so funny because they recalled it, man. That must be going today for hundreds of dollars.
I think they printed off like 100,000 on them or something. They were so sure she was going to win, and then they rescinded it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's funny about the flea market guy because they're I always see there's a flea market right by us, that kind of on our border. So when I'm working nights, I get off at 6, and about 5:30, people start setting up out there.
Yeah.
And you already see people, these real early people, walking around trying to get there.
Oh yeah.
See what's already out, because usually people up there, the flea market opens about 7, so by 6 people are already set up. But
Oh yeah. Collectors are the craziest people. You know what?
They are.
Yeah.
It's in the magic field either. I mean, it goes in that field as well. Back to the collection stuff. How do you think I got a lot of this inverti stuff? I traded a lot of things. You know what? Years ago when I saw an inverti prop that I really couldn't afford or something, I'd contact the magician or something. I had something, so I said, hey, how about if I, if we work out a trade, so that's how I got a lot of things by trading as well.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
True. David introduced me into that. David Harvestad introduced me into the trading. One thing I just wanted to say real quick, Joe. I'm sorry, I don't know if I cut you there. The guy who I'm telling you, what I thought was funny, that I can tell, he's like at least 300 and some pounds. He's a huge guy, built, middle-aged, and his, like 50s. And I thought it was hilarious when he's running from the courtesy desk. The guy behind the courtesy desk says, sir. And he's running and he's screaming in the store, I paid for it. I got the receipt. And the cop that stands by the door is looking like, what the hell? And he goes to the officer, I paid for it. He ran out the door.
That is funny. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. But
I tell you would see what I used to do, because I used to be part owner in a comic shop years ago. And when we used to go do shows, you would see, I mean, there were people, if say the show would open up at say 8 a.m., they would have people that would sneak in there like about 7 a.m. and all that to try to get in and get the early deals and all that. And I remember a few times being in the middle of setting up, and people would be there, looking through our boxes going, hey, do you have this? Do you have this? How much is this? And we're like, dude, we're still setting.
We're still setting up. Wow.
Hey, that's an interesting. What are you doing?
You know what? That's an interesting topic with the comic books. What personally is the most expensive comic book you ever had your hands on, Joe? I mean, what did it go for, and what was it?
Oh man, I don't know. I think it would have to be. I would say years ago, a buddy of mine that was at a show selling. He had the first Batman Detective. What is that? 27, I believe.
Wow.
And it was graded. I can't remember what it was in, but I mean, it had to be, a few $100,000.
Holy smokes! Wow.
Yeah, I got to hold that, which was really cool. And I've seen a lot of very expensive ones over the years that. And here's the thing, and well, I'll let out a little secret here, because I've done a lot of shows and I know a lot of people.
Wait, one second before you let it out. Dum dum dum.
Yeah. That do shows. If you go to the show, if say you go to a comic book show and you see a guy that has all these key issues on the wall, on his back wall there, that are, they're key issues, and they're going for, thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. 99% chance he brought those books there not to sell, but to gloat to other collectors there, and to people that are selling into other comic shops and all that. Because I know,
isn't that something?
I know a few people that do that, and they might sell maybe one of those books at a show, probably a lower end one. If you get somebody with a lot of money there, or someone throws on a credit card, but 99% of the time they bring those there. And you'll see them. There'll be a row or two with just all these high-end books. I mean, extremely high-end books.
Wow.
And it's there just to gloat, pretty much. Yeah.
Isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah, so when you go to a show and you see these people with those, you just know that they are there. They're gloating, and there's like this competition between comic shop. Mostly it's comic shop owners, but there's this competition of who has the high-end books at these shows. Yeah, it's a very little known secret.
See, there's always some kind of a game that people play. You know what? I got quite a few battery operated toys. I was always fascinated by the old tin toys. Anything pre-1970 is considered collectible. And man, when I think back when I was a kid, I would go into the department store, and these things costed $5. I mean, who would think they're gonna? I mean, what's 6-year-old kid's going to think? Hey, that's an investment, But that's the time when they were out, 1968, 69. They were highly collectible. One time he had some battery toys put in a closet, and he said, this thing just doesn't work. I mean, it was in mint condition. It's just that it turned out the switch was bad. You know what? So I can go in there and change those things pretty easily. So he gave me a pretty good price on it. But some of those old tin toys are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, those are extra. I've seen a few of those at different shows over the years, and they're always very expensive, man.
Yeah,
Especially the robots, man. Like you said, pre 1970.
yeah.
Man, they just go for a ton of money, and if the box is there too, forget
If the
about it.
you know what, the box is just as valuable as the toy itself. It's crazy.
More valuable,
even more. Yeah.
In fact, even in books, Chucks, if you have a jacketed from like an original, say for example, I don't know, the To Kill a Mockingbird, let's say, the jacket alone makes the book over 200,000. Well, let's say if it didn't, it's only like $10,000, something like that.
Isn't that something?
I tell you what, I have a whole run of all the Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzans, the original first printings.
Yeah,
and I think I have two of them that have dust jackets. The two with the dust jackets are worth a good amount. The ones without the dust jackets aren't really worth much. But if I had the dust jacket on there, they would be up there in price. But the thing is, the dust jacket's so expensive. I would never be able to afford to buy one of them.
Isn't that something?
Like Eddie said, that they're, you got to figure at the time, nobody really protected them. Those books were, kids had them all over the place. They were traded. So those dust jackets got beat up, or sometimes kids just took them off and threw them away because they got in the way. So they're very rare to find. And like Eddie said, with the boxes, how many times when we were small, we get a toy, we rip open the box, throw the box aside. Our parents would grab the box, crumple it up, and put it in the trash can.
Oh yeah,
and so sometimes the boxes are more expensive than the actual toy.
And those old tin toys, the tin toys, the amount of thought and the ingenuity that went into these things. I mean, some have 6, 7, 8 different actions. The eyes will flash. The one arm moves, the other arm will pick a cigar up to his mouth, and smoke would come out his mouth. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the amount of the engineering that went into these things, from one motor inside that does all this with cams and gears and everything. It's just amazing.
What's the most expensive tin toy that you've seen?
You know what? I have one that's kind of cool. It's very unusual. It's a Marx one, probably from, I'd say, the early '60s, and it's a puppeteer. So when you throw the switch, like there's a puppeteer that's holding a Pinocchio marionette, and so the marionette is like moving and bouncing up and down, and the puppeteer. And so he's chewing like his mouth, like he has gum in his mouth or something. That's probably one of the most unusual one as far as value wise. I mean, it's probably not a shocking amount of money. I'd say maybe $400, $500, but that's one of the more unusual ones, that I've ever seen. And there's a guy here in Pittsburgh I was very good friends with, and he passed away maybe about 10 years ago. So I asked his wife because he had this toy. I said, "Would you be interested in selling this?" And so it was actually about a year ago, and she said, "Yeah." Or like an average offer, nothing crazy, and so she went for it, and I took it home, and it's just a cool toy, man. It's a really, really neat toy.
I tell you what the one tin toy I've been wanting is the Great Garloo.
Oh, that's a nice one,
and that is very, very tough to not even just find, but to find in a decent condition for a decent price, because they go crazy.
The one that always appealed to me, and it's a high one. You know what? Eddie might have it in his collection. It's that haunted house, that whistling haunted house. It's a tin toy where there's like different functions. It's like really cool to go to appear at the door. Do you know what I mean?
It's called the Hootin' Tootin' Haunted House by Marx.
That's it.
That haunted house is kind of unique. And by the way, guys, I'm glad. We all had this nice techniques on how to get things, and I get accused of almost stealing my Frankenstein. But anyway,
I'm looking at a photo of that right now, and now it's something I have to find.
Well, let me wait. I'm gonna send you guys before anything photos of me holding that.
Oh, wow.
Here's the story with that. I have, I believe, 2 of them. I got one many, many years ago with the box. I don't know. I think $500-600 I paid for it, but they're going for like 1,500 right now and stuff. But I got one that I paid $400 for without a box, and it was in really nifty, good condition. And the reason I got the second one is because the character that I know that has the 7-foot robot plants that I've told the stories before, that the guy is a total dipstick.
Take a drink.
Take a drink.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he wanted that, and he explained to me how his brother died and didn't give him his one copy he had, and he was saying like his brother just didn't want him to have it. And I said to myself, no wonder the guy is such a putz.
Yeah.
Him and the brother don't do that. He's never going to give me those plants.
Never.
So anyway, he wanted the house. So I came across and I go to him. This is the deal. I'll give you this house for free. Okay.
Wow.
And you can have this Hooten house. It was all working and stuff. And all I need for you to do is give me a photocopy of the plans. And he says, no.
Oh my goodness.
He looked at the house. He goes, well, my brother's was like this. Like he put some, and I said, forget it. Give me that. I grabbed it off his hands. He got me pissed. And I said, just give me that and the hell with you, man.
Boy, what an idiot. That's such a beautiful house. Oh my. What does that house do, Eddie? What are the functions?
Well, what you do is you press one key down and the door opens up and there's a Dracula behind the door. And it does that. And it makes you press another key and it has like a bellows, but most of the bellows don't work. And then you press another key and the house in the center pushes up and down like it shakes, right?
Oh, okay.
Then another key function, what it does is there's a black cat. A lot of those, the black cat, the tail is missing, or the Dracula, when the door opens, the little Dracula is not there.
Yeah.
The tin, and it has a total of 8 buttons. When you have it in your hand, I know it's pretty large. It's not a small piece, and it's very unique to it, and it's a nice piece. Well, anyway, here's the story. I'm sorry, Joe, it was before I met you. I went to Chiller when he told me that thing that he didn't want it. I got pissed off. And Kevin, the owner of Chiller, says to me, hey, Eddie, what are you doing with that? You selling? I said, you know what, Kev? I paid for the damn thing $300. I mean, 300, I think it was $57, whatever. I said, if you want it, just give me 400. You want to take it? So he goes, okay, and I gave it to him for $400, and I just didn't want to even hold it.
I tell you what, that's a gorgeous house. I've seen that for years, and I've seen it. The price on that thing is always going up. That's a nice tin.
It is, but you know what it is? Me and you, Chuck, didn't grow up on the air because we're younger than when that house came out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like there's another one, The Wizard of Oz, who is called the Hooting Tooting something haunted tree or the whistle.
Oh, I know what you're talking.
Okay, I got one of those. The guy gave it to me. It kind of looks impressive when you touch it because it's actually the size of oatmeal box, like the Quaker oatmeal, the large one. That's about a foot long. You know what you're talking about, Joe, right? The Quaker oatmeal when you buy the instant oats.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about the size of that. And the reason that tree is so famous is because when it came out, and it's called the Hooten Hollow Tree, something like that, by Marx. Kids got scared of it because it make a screeching sound, and it was not a good seller. So they sell anywhere from $400 to $1,500. Well, that tree in an original box, the guy was walking around me. I knew the guy, and he goes, Eddie, if you want it for you, you could give me $300 for it. So I bought it for $300. I do still have that tree. Don't ask me where, but I do have it. And basically the whole thing is that the house itself, I got it, but you know what? I didn't care parting with it because it was not something I grew up with. In fact, I only found out about it when I was older. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys, and I found out about that house when I was looking for the original Haunted House Mystery Bank that was sold in the comic books by Honor House. They describe a bank that's very close to the one where the ghost comes out of the door.
Yeah.
And everything, but they say it's a hand. I believe it got to be what I think, in my opinion, either a misprint or it doesn't exist. And then again, I have to think about that because if you remember Universal Monster Army, there's a guy that goes there by the name of Monster Bob. I spoke with him on the phone one time, and he said to me, Eddie, the one that has a hand coming out, that's called the Haunted House Mystery Bank, not the little crack stand one that it's like elongated, but the one that's the same size as the haunted house with the ghost. I had one. I sold one. So he proved the existence. Then there was a book I remember seeing 20 years ago when I was waiting for my wife and her sister to go around shopping in the mall, and I was in a Walden bookstore, and I remember seeing the haunted house in there. Again, I forgot what book it was. I must have bought 40 books trying to find that particular book on battery toy operated. Cannot find it. And then another guy in my job said, yeah, I had the same house that in the process, the hand comes out. So that became a search, just like the robot plants. Does it exist? But then I knew that an honor house would sometimes kind of, fudge things up a little bit. And I think maybe the writer made a mistake and put a hand instead of a ghost. But here's the story. I did come across one particular haunted house that is so rare, and I have two of them, so rare that the guy who wrote a book about battery toy operated toys, tin toys, had never seen it or heard of it.
Isn't that something?
And he said to me, wow. Well, anyway, I got offered $950 for this house, and I bought it on eBay probably in 1999, I think it was. And I got it for like $45. And then I got a second one of those houses. It's a yellow and red top. And when you put the coin in the roof, what happens is a witch dances with, like in the window, you can see a shadow. It makes the noises. I never put batteries in it to see how it works. Don't ask me why. And a hand comes out through the chimney and grabs the coin.
That sounds neat.
But that is unique in its way. Now that house, that same guy who, that's how the $900 were. There's a guy in Chiller that always goes there and into flea markets. And the guy that goes around, the guy I told you that ran away ShopRite, he goes around and he sells this guy, because this guy used to be a son of like a doctor. So the guy's like a super millionaire that just buys whatever. And this guy sells some things for astronomical amounts. He was trying to get the house for me for $400. And I was going to sell it to him. And then when I realized how much he was going to get, like 900 and something for it, I'm like, I'm not selling this guy this. So I went to the other guy. I told the other guy, if you want, you can give me 800. It's yours. And he says, no, I don't want to do that because the other guy's my friend. And I already told him. I'm like, well, screw you then. I walked off. But I got to tell you one thing, though. That house all that came about my searching for the one from Honor House on the comic books, which you can see that ad. But the thing is, as years have gone, there's 3 people that kind of give me a provenance that the item does exist, or something, just like the robot plants. I know this guy has it.
Take a drink.
For the way he described it. But you know what, though, honestly, it's still among my search. Just like I tell anybody out there, if you have any original Honor House 7-foot Monster Ghost instructions, because the Honor House instructions that I had as a kid, I lost in a fire. I would do, I would love to pay. I would buy it. I would, just the instructions. I have the ghost, but I don't have those instructions.
Yeah.
And then what I have is the only one probably left in the world, the Melton ghost, and I have the Johnson Smith ghost. But the very first one that I got, the Honor House, I would love to get those instructions, or anything that is in the mail order field out there, original mail order comic book novelties that I will still buy even if I have a copy.
Hey, keep that in mind.
Guys, I hate to jump in here, but we got less than 2 minutes left, and I want to give a real quick shout out over to stupidcomicsmagazine.com. I see they just added their newest issue, which is number 6. It's looks really cool, the cover. They've got some monsters and aliens. There's one that says UFOs or bust. So that's, hey, Eddie, that's right up our alley, man. UFOs and all that, and some Martians inside. And there's even a whoopee cushion, looks like gag on it. So, and from what it's saying on the cover, get a dumb sticker with this issue. So a nice little added bonus to that. So I'm going to scoop up my issue right now. So anyone that's looking for any of the back issues or the newest number 6, stupidcomicsmagazine.com, and that's stupid spelled STOOPID. Also, for everyone out there, definitely check out our flagship home site of houseoftheunusual.com. A lot of cool stuff on there. We're also on YouTube, House of the Unusual. Subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get up over 1,000 people. We're at 935 right now. We want it to get at least over 1,000 subscribers. So definitely get on there. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Check out our videos. Give them a good thumbs up, and a huge thank you to all of our listeners out there on whatever platform you're on. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a good review if you so choose to. And hey, we're here every week for you guys. Some great conversations on whatever pops in our head. And we are out of time, and that's all we got. So thanks for joining us, and good night, everyone.
All right.
God bless everybody.
Take
Take care. Bye-bye.